I got the kit, and as we know, with adding different things in different parts, that would not be without its issues. I want to use this pickup. It doesn't fit in that hole. We're gonna have to widen that out. I'm going to use the pickup that came with it though, because, oh, pardon my hand there. As you can see, the new bridge I have is a different size too. So first thing I got to make sure is that I will be able to get the right scale when I back these up, which I should. I'm sure this has just got extra room in it. And if not, well, I won't be using this bridge. And then the next thing is I would fit it with the pickup that came in it in place. Get my screws holes all drilled and everything. Then put the pickup I want to use in it and figure out where it needs to be adjusted from there. So, wish me luck. And here's some other thoughts. I was gonna, and I still may, do this in a flat black with black hardware, thinking that would look really cool, blacked out. But boy, that is some nice looking mahogany for a kit guitar. I mean, you can see where the seams for the pieces are, but still, that is so nice. We'll see. So I've decided I kind of need to mock this up before I get doing too much finishing on it. So I get the neck on it, and I lined things up. And what I did is I fit the pick guard in. There's pre-drilled holes, so I lined the ones on the bottom up across, and then I fit this bridge in. Excuse me for this, I need both hands. I don't have my tripod. Make everybody dizzy here. Okay, so line the holes up for the bridge. I fit this where I thought it looked best. I put a straight edge along both sides of the neck and drew lines, and I kind of tried to make it centered where the pick guard would be. And I made new holes because this is shorter, and as you can see, they pretty much line right up with where the holes that were in it that came from the factory. And I did mock it up with the strings on it, and it seemed to be pretty level down both sides. So fingers crossed, we'll put it in and hopefully the strings go straight down the neck. I almost forgot. I wanted to show you what I used to drill these holes to get them centered. I used what's called a hinge bit. Yeah, if you put it in, this thing comes out the middle. So this little piece right on there fits into those holes there, and it puts the hole dead center on them. So let's hope that worked out for me too. I put the screws in, and there's where the pick guard's gonna go, and I think she's gonna line up. She better. So I made my pencil marks in here where the holes are gonna go for the string through. Kinda gotta do that next. Take this off. And the good thing for that bigger pickup I wanna put in, I'll be able to take this pickup out of the ashtray there, and I'll be able to draw the line in where I'm gonna need to route for the other pickup to fit, because the other pickup is pretty much right to the edge of that. Still on the fence about the just staining this. I was going to paint her flat black, but I mean, man, that is nice. Here's my holes in my back for my string through. I don't know that they're quite exactly perfect, but I think they're going to be close enough for me. You can see they came close to the original holes that were there for that bridge. I could plug those extra ones back up, but it's not going to matter. It won't show. So I got to widen these out so that they will accept the ferrules. Got this drill bit here, and it's not a brad point bit that I know of. But what I'm going to do so I don't get chip out, hopefully, is I'm going to take this reamer and I'm going to widen the opening out to the 1/4 inch size that hole needs to be, so that hopefully I can avoid getting chip out. I'm still just amazed at that finish on that. It's like, I really don't want to see that grain go away. I'm thinking this thing is going to end up like getting stained a nice brown color. I think brown to red, like Les Paul kind of mahogany. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. Nothing's decided yet. Okay, I'm going to say that worked. Not too bad. Maybe a little mark there. But when the ferrules go into place, yeah, you'll never see that. I planned on using my Dremel to widen the cavities. Thought about buying a router, but I don't know how much, you know, I'll use it, and I looked into it. I found this attachment for my Dremel to turn it into a router. If I wanted to take that down all the way, I could. I'd have to adjust the blade to go deeper, but I think this will allow the pickup to make it in, so I widened it so the pickup can make it in. And let's see if it will. Okay, and the hole's in the right spot. Will it line up? I think it will. I'm going to put the screws in to make sure. But that's the pickup I want in there because it's a humbucker. I'm still thinking I'm going to stain this thing after thinking black on black. I don't know. So I couldn't help myself. I really, really like the way that mahogany looked. So I'm not painting it. I'm staining it. I figured I can always paint over a stain, but staining it over a paint doesn't really work. And for a stain I picked, well, golden mahogany. Because I'm just liking it. It's going to be protected. It's going to look a lot like the actual wood looked. And I'm hoping to do the neck in a true oil finish. Really satiny on the neck. So that's how she's coming. And I just like that mahogany. It did kind of bring out that one section where you can see the extra piece in there when I stained her, but I'm willing to deal with that because the pick guard's going to hide that. I've never, believe it or not, done much shielding on a guitar cavity because I'm usually doing humbuckers, and even though I'm sure there's somebody out there that'll argue with me, humbuckers do not need a shielded cavity because they are their own shielded little entity. But well, let's see how we can make this work. I don't know. I think I will piece this together. It's going to be the best way. Like I said, I've never done this before. We're going to find out. And just catch. And just catch the very edge there. I wonder if that's why they gave me so much, because it gives me a chance to screw it up. Probably. They know me. They know who will be building these. So, I don't know if you noticed or not, this control cavity isn't the neatest job, but I used that router on that Dremel, and there was a learning curve. However, this plate that came with it is actually a little bit bigger than this one I had. This one I had didn't originally have these electronics. It quite possibly is the exact same brand as the black one that I have on order. So I went with the smaller one as my guide because I figure if it fits, well, how much even smaller could the one I'm ordering be? It's going to be the same size likely. So, and as you can see, it doesn't expose any of the hole. But why I'm checking this here is I want to see if any of my copper shielding is going to show through that, and a hair of it's going to, so I got to fix just that little side, but will do, have no fear. Now, as I understand this, I'm going to need to take a wire and connect these cavities so that this shielding will be connected to ground. And I will eventually do that when I get it all wired up. But this is fun. This stuff can give you a good paper cut too, so you got to be careful. So it's all shielded. I will need to take a ground wire and connect all the cavities if I am understanding this correctly. I'm really liking that finish on it. I know it barely looks like I did anything, but if you could see it, you could see it's well sealed in it. I've got a Gibson Les Paul Junior Special. It's got a satin finish and it feels just like this, which is kind of cool. It's kind of almost like a waxy feel. I really like that stain I bought. Well, as I said before, my plan was going to be black on black and black it out, but really just digging the look of that mahogany. So this is going to get replaced with the black cover when I get it for the control plate. But so that's how she's coming together. I'm thinking I'm liking it. And notice the saddles on that bridge. It's kind of like a hybrid, the best of both. I like that. So this is interesting. You read all kinds of reviews and things online. Somebody said, do not use the template that comes with it. It's not to scale. Scale for what? Is this supposed to be like a copy of something? I cut this hole out so I know where to line up at least the distance from the top. It is a little different back here. And it's gonna be a little different over here, but the rest, you know, it'll be what it is, and I think it'll look pretty good. Well, depending on the job I do, because this is something I've never done before too. Okay, well, jigsaw, and use my bench sander. I still got to do the fine sanding on it, but I think that'll work. I do. Well, I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, it looks like a Telecaster to me. A little more work to do. Next is gonna be checking them frets out. We'll get that neck straight. We'll see if any of those frets are high, and see if we need to do a fret level and dress. And believe it or not, that's something that I got experience with. One thing to note though is thickness of this. I did measure. It's only 1.5 inches. It's not as thick as, like, you know, a real Fender Tele. But for 85 bucks, what do you want? And for what it's worth, I don't care about that. The older I get, I like light, and that's just going to make it lighter. So actually, this isn't in that bad a shape at all. It probably doesn't really even need this done. I'm doing it because I can. I mean, they're going to be better, but you know, it would have played just fine the way it was without cutting your hands. That's actually pretty good. And like I said, I can't see where I need to level the frets. I'll find out probably better when I string it up, because I don't have my fret rocker yet. I had to use makeshift. And I have my homemade radius gauges that I 3D printed, and they're telling me it's a 14-inch, not a 12-inch radius, but I don't know. I'm not going to trust them either. If any leveling does need to get done, I'm using my beam. That way I'm safe. So I just put this in, and it's not what came with it, because what came with it was chrome. And I had to plug the holes that were there for the part that came with it and re-drill my own, because this is what you run into, like I did with the bridge, when you're buying parts that weren't designed for it. But that's the fun, making it work. So true oiled the neck, hit it with steel wool, 1000 grit sandpaper, 1500 and 2000. And this is what I got, and she's pretty smooth. It really is. I'm liking the look of the figuring in it there. One thing I forgot to mention, and it's kind of important, the nut. I had to do a lot of cutting in the nut, and I've seen people review these and talk about how they replaced the cheap plastic nut. I don't think that's a cheap plastic nut. It was really, really hard to cut with my nut slot files. And the dust that came out of it, usually nut slot files will go through a plastic nut like a hot knife through butter. That was super hard to cut. I'm thinking it's bone. And you know, everybody makes a big deal about a bone nut. Bone nuts are actually cheap. You can buy one for like $5 or $6. It's just there's more labor in cutting them. That's why they put the cheap nuts in, because the machine can make slots in the plastic nut, you know, when they make it, mold it, whatever. And it saves the labor of having to cut the nut slots, which of course nobody did with that, because they were far from being cut deep enough. I like that, because now I have nut action that is 18 thousandths, and it's perfect. So it's just about done. This is it. I'll give you my thoughts. I'm still waiting on my black control plate with my CTS switches. This is just some old pots I stuck into this chrome plate to route the cavity to make it fit the full-size pots. I hooked it up briefly just to test things out, but these pots were laying around for a reason. They're ones that were fried and no good, and so I didn't leave it hooked up. Plays good after putting a bunch of work into it. So it's an $85 kit, and you get what you pay for. I noticed the one Sean did, a lot of the fret leveling happened up in here. Same on this one. A lot, way too much fret leveling happened up in here. I got it so it plays okay, but not a lot of fret just in this area. What does that mean? That means when they radius the fingerboard, they kind of got a little lazy down this end, and it's a little bit flatter, and there's a radius mismatch, and not in a good way, like a compound, like is in, it's a little too high over here for the fingerboard. So if you wanted to fix this and make it right, you'd do a refret. Well, you have the frets off, you'd re-radius, put new frets on, and then it'd be great, it'd be like $1 million. But then again, as I said, it's an $85 guitar. So it plays fine. The neck is got a meaty feel to it, and I got a very raw wood feel because I just true oiled it. But to be honest with you, my EVH Bumblebee neck is shaped very similar and feels a lot like it. So I had intentions of painting, but the mahogany was so pretty. I just got a mahogany. It's called Golden Mahogany Stain, and I might have liked a little darker. Maybe I should have tried to find something a little browner, but I was shopping at our little Walmart, and I didn't have a lot to choose from, and that was the one that said mahogany, so I thought it would look nice with the mahogany. Maybe just a hair darker brown would have been nice, but I'm pretty happy with that. Did lots of modifications to this bridge to make it work. Obviously I did the string through. My little jig thing kind of worked okay. They're not spaced out perfect, but they're in 3 groups of 2, so I don't know, maybe that's how they were through the top. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's just a happy accident. Oh, well, I had it plugged in. I did the intonation, and it intonates perfectly, because I was concerned about the other bridge being longer, but when I put the tape measure on it, I saw that I had room, and I do. And you're gonna have to wait to hear it till I get the other parts and wire it up. Well, I briefly did have it hooked up. I found out 2 things. 1, I found out it sounds good, and 2, I found out that I have to reverse wire this little tele pickup that came with it, because I'm using the one that came with it, and my middle position was very much out of phase. So yeah, if you don't mind, you know, like living with a little less meat on this side of those last 5 or 6 frets, that's what happened. But it was the radiusing of the actual board was where they fell short. So next week
I'll have a good demo for you while they're all hooked up and plugged in, but this is just going to recap this initial video with the build, or should I say the second video, because I did one saying I was going to do it. Take care.